All right, getting ready for our third and final game on the weekend against Madison Capitals. First game yesterday morning was a win. Second game was a tie. A furious comeback by the boys to get that tie. Unfortunately, the officiating crew uh, wouldn't do overtime, so we ended in regulation. Going to start up today with Chilicki, Paulo, Reynolds, Aldridge, and Campbell. Looks like we are still going to be short Chris Gintis, and then Letcher's been out this weekend as well. Cutting is in net. Fake drop by the official. Little smiles. Drop down. Powell wins that over to Reynolds. Reynolds pops it back to Aldridge. Campbell up for Chilicki, gets knocked away, and we're off. Madison dumps it in behind Cutting. Aldridge into the corner. Puts it back for Campbell. Campbell escapes one. Tries to get that puck up to Chilicki. It's held in. Good stick by Aldridge. Knocked puck away. Puck goes into the far side. Aldridge pinning the puck. Waiting for Powell to come and help. Reynolds standing outside of it. Capitals dump it back into the near board. Chilicki with some space moves the puck over to Campbell, back to Chilicki. Or I'm sorry, to Reynolds. Back to Chilicki. Reynolds changes, Brown comes on. Campbell gets bumped off of the puck. Capitals go into neutral ice and dump it and get a change. Puck behind the net. Comes out. Brown chips it over to the board, carries it across over to Chilicki. Chilicki misses. Madison puts it back to the neutral zone where Onak gathers. Onak and Rybicki out on D. Nietzsche's come out and changed. And Pulauskas has come out. Brown tips that into the Madison zone, played by the goaltender. Break out into the neutral zone. Pulauskas is there. One guy in for the Capitals. Pulauskas takes it away and goes back up ice. Capitals nudge him off of the boards and go D to D. Into middle of space. Onak gets a loose puck over to Nietzsche. Nietzsche dumps the puck in. Brown goes for a change, and Bergeron comes on. Capitals passing a lot better today, able to break out of their zone. Puck into the corner. Nietzsche and Onak battling. Nietzsche gets it out and swings it around. Madison dumps it back into the corner. Rybicki up hard off of the boards. Madison kicks it, and puck comes back into the neutral zone. Miller's come out now, tries to get that puck up to Koshkowski. Seidel changes out for Pulauskas. Puck on the far board. Madison carries in. Koshkowski gets a stick on it. Puck goes behind for Cutting. Cutting plays it up on the glass. It goes behind Seidel. Koshkowski is there. Leaves it for Seidel, but he gets tied up. Bergeron into the neutral zone, tries to get at Seidel. Seidel pass goes wide and to Madison, but Koshkowski is there. Puck in the corner. Seidel pins his man. Puck goes back to the opposite corner. And Madison puts it into the neutral zone again. Good stick by Miller. Puck bounces over to Seidel. Seidel loses the handle a little bit, and Madison puts it in. Aldridge back out. Pins his man. Koshkowski takes it off of the board. Goes into the corner. Escapes one. Puts it back behind. Miller goes to get it. Miller to Aldridge. Aldridge up for Koshkowski. Koshkowski gets it tipped out, and we get a change. Kruger, Verdidio, and Carter come out hard. Puck bounces off of Campbell into the corner. He ties his man. Kruger comes over to help. Madison works it up from behind the net over to the point. Comes out into the neutral zone. Carter, big hit. cutting, plays it back for Campbell. Campbell going up for Credidio, stepped in front of by Madison. It's tied up on the boards again. Kruger tries to get that out. It goes to the point. Shot goes wide of cutting and out of the zone. Really high hit onto Credidio. Kruger's got a breakaway. Kruger tries to go 5-hole save, and we'll get an in-zone face-off. Good job by Credidio. Take the hit, get the puck out of the zone. Kruger streaking down. Tries to get a 5-hole shot on backhand. And it does, but covered. Chilicki, Paulo, Reynolds come out. Rubicki and Campbell at D. Good rush by that line of Kruger, Carter, and Credidio. Madison, center breakout. But they dump it into the neutral zone. Rubicki gets knocked off the puck and it goes into the Fury zone. Madison puts it back deep again. Reynolds off for Rubicki, over to Chilicki. A little too far, no ice. Madison, again, center breakout. What wasn't working for them yesterday is working for them today. Paulo to Reynolds. Reynolds to Chilicki. Reynolds goes for a change. Carter comes out. Kruger comes out. One gets past Miller. Brings it in. The guy streaking. Miller ties him up. Good job. Good stop by Onak. Kruger picks up the puck. Gets it to Carter. Carter to Credidio. Credidio swings it harder around where Kruger's waiting for it on the boards. Kruger knocks it off. It goes into the middle. Gets past Credidio. Kept in by Onak. Madison takes it back. Kruger is there. Madison escapes him and brings it into the neutral zone. Gets past Credidio. Gets past Carter. Carter takes him down. Puck over to Miller. Miller to the near boards. Carter gets the puck into the neutral zone. Kruger goes for a change. Carter gets a hit on. Credidio gets a hit on. Puck over to Carter. Carter to Onak. Onak's shot goes wide. Aldridge just come on. And Nietzsche is on for Kruger. Madison intercepts a pass, gets into the neutral zone. That goes to the backboard. Shot goes on cutting, and he bats it away. Madison, Credidio's puck gets intercepted, and they keep it in the zone. Onak gets it out and ices it. We'll get a change. 10:44 to go in the first. Pulauskas and Brown join Nietzsche. Nietzsche wins that back to Aldridge. Aldridge hard around for Pulauskas. Pulauskas has space. He's got Brown with him. Brings it through. Knocked off of the puck, but carries the player with him. So Nietzsche gathers the loose puck, gets it over to Aldridge. Aldridge to Pulauskas. Pulauskas carries in. Tries to get past one. Gets knocked away. Brown is there. Brown gets nudged off of the puck. Campbell chips it over to the far board. Brown puts it in deep. Pulauskas goes to get it. The goaltender is still playing that puck behind the net. Comes up to Campbell. Shot in front. Tipped. Goes high off of the boards and over to the corner. Pulauskas gets a body on. Puck goes to the opposite corner. Nietzsche comes over to help. Nietzsche takes a cross check, but Campbell gets the puck. Pulauskas shot. Bounces off the pad. Brown goes for a change. Bergeron comes on. Bergeron gets in front of the passing lane. Campbell gets the puck over to Miller. Miller. Puck goes just wide of the net, and it'll go for an icing as he wasn't quite to the red line. $9:40 to go. Krzyzkowski, Seidel, and Bergeron out with Rubicki and Onak. Puck stuck in some feet. Rubicki does a nice job to get that over to Bergeron. Bounces off his stick. Madison regroups in the neutral zone. Madison gets to the center line and dumps it in. Cutting, plays the puck over to the far board for Seidel. Seidel, good puck protection, gets it over to Kushkowski. Kushkowski gets the puck out of the zone, but gets tied up. Madison takes it back. Puck around hard. Rubicki tries to get a body on, sidestep by Madison. Madison still working the puck in the corner. Kushkowski working. Madison walks it up the boards, up to their D. Fired back into the opposite corner. Madison goes to get it. Good stick by Kushkowski. Puck exits the zone. Madison blind dump over to Kushkowski. Kushkowski throws it back. Madison comes back the other way. That looked offside. Nobody paying attention to that. Onak pushes the puck to Rubicki. Rubicki up to Chilicki. Chilicki to Kushkowski. Kushkowski gets it across. Carries in. Shot low. It's in front. Madison clears. Aldridge keeps it in the zone. Blocked by Madison. Madison clears. It goes back to Aldridge. Aldridge over to Chilicki. Paulo and Reynolds come out hard. Chilicki regroups. Reynolds gets through a couple of guys. Shot. Glove side. Save. $8:10 to go in the first. Still 0-0. Reynolds tried to beat the goaltender glove side. He catches it and we get an end zone face off. Paulo's attempt pushed back by Madison. They try to go off of the glass. Puck bounces past Reynolds. That was offsides too. Shot on cutting, knocked aside. Chilicki over to Miller. Miller. Paulo interfered with. No call. Puck brought in by Chilicki. A little messy here. Madison doing what they do and trying to muscle us off of the pucks. Cross ice for Campbell. Campbell tried to get him over to Chilicki. Makes its way to Paulo. Paulo puts it deep for Reynolds. Reynolds shot behind the net. Comes out of the zone. Kruger's come on. Miller passes to Kruger. Kruger waiting for Carter to come out. Carter in the middle of the ice. Campbell gets taken down. Kruger and Carter get taken down. Well, Madison's motto is doesn't matter how, and they're doing it any way they can. Little miscommunication between Cutting and Miller. Cutting winds up pushing it to the near board. Puck goes into the corner. Campbell is there. Bounce it off of the skate over to Kruger. Kruger. Over to Credidio. Credidio centers. Goes past Carter and Kruger off of the far board. Madison's got three the other way. Rubicki tries to slow up. Good pass by Madison. They get a shot on. Cutting. Rebound goes into the middle. Carter sends it back down. Carter coming in. The goaltender waits a really long time to play these pucks. Puck in the middle. Carter's there. Puck knocked away. Carter's interfered with. No call. Rubicki tries to get the puck hard out. Nietzsche's come on. Kushkowski is on. Onak pushing forward. Nietzsche comes in. Puck goes over into the corner. Centering pass. Goes past Miller, goes far board. Puck goes into the neutral zone. Puck up to Kowalskis, gets knocked away. Well, good stick by Miller, knocked that puck away. Off of the glass and out of the zone. Onak changes and Aldridge comes on. Campbell comes on for Miller. Puck goes for an icing. 5:02 to go in the first period. Still 0-0. Nietzsche take the draw with Kushkowski and Pulauskas. Pulauskas offset. Capitals win the faceoff back. Go into the corner and try to bring it up the boards. Another interference. There, we got it. So after numerous interference plays, they do call it. 4:51 to go. We'll go on the power play. Paulo, Reynolds, Chalicki come out with Onak and Campbell. Puck hard around over to Onak. Onak down for Chalicki. Chalicki up to Onak. Onak back to Chalicki. Chalicki walks it in. Brings it back to Paulo. Back to Chalicki. Chalicki cross ice for Campbell. Campbell shot. Bounces off of the pad into the corner. Chalicki over to Onak. Onak back to Campbell. Campbell down to Reynolds. Reynolds. Pass goes to Onak. Onak shot in front. Loose. Reynolds tries at it and is covered. So that gets knocked off. Whistle's blown. Minute 28 to go in the power play. We're going to keep the same personnel. 4:19 in the first to go. Face-off controlled by Fury over to Campbell. Campbell to Reynolds. Reynolds walks the puck down the boards. Back to Campbell. Campbell to Onak. Onak down for Chalicki. Chalicki looking for Paulo. Paulo gets it to Onak. Onak to Campbell. Campbell to Reynolds. Reynolds cross ice for Onak. Onak shot blocked. Pops into the corner for Reynolds. Reynolds puts it down low for Chalicki, but Madison gets there first. Chalicki battling, puck still in the boards. 55 seconds to go on the power play. Chalicki takes a cross check. We're going to get a 5-on-3. So we'll get a 5-on-3. We're going to keep the same grouping. 50 seconds for the first penalty. Face off one back to Reynolds. Onak walks it in, gets it over to Campbell. Campbell to Reynolds, back to Campbell. Campbell over to Onak. Onak back to Campbell one time. Shot blocked into the corner. Reynolds back to Onak. Onak down for Chalicki. Chalicki low. Chalicki tries to jam it in off of the pad. Puck cleared to Onak. Onak shot. Blocker save. Reynolds off of the boards. 20 seconds to go in the 5-on-3. Campbell to Chalicki, back to Onak. Onak. Campbell one time. Puck in front. There it goes. Paulo tips it in. So Paulo from Reynolds. 3:02 to go. Brown looks like he might be hurt. Carter comes on for him. Nietzsche wins that face off to Carter. Carter pushes it to Rubicki. Rubicki takes it all the way back. Minute 13 to go on the power play. Rubicki takes it out from behind cutting, gets it up to Nietzsche. Nietzsche bounces off of a stick and knocked away. Pulauskas gathers, carries in. ducks under one hit, brings it onto the sideboard, gets it up to Rubicki. Rubicki down for Pulauskas. Pulauskas over to Miller. Miller to Nietzsche. Nietzsche back to Miller. Miller. Nietzsche comes off of the board, takes a shot, hits the guy in the middle of the chest, and cleared. 40 seconds to go. Miller over to Pulauskas. Pulauskas, nice pass over for Nietzsche. Nietzsche fans. Puck is cleared. 20 seconds to go. Cutting. Plays that up. Bounces off of the board. Nietzsche, good job tying it up. Carter couldn't quite get to it. Puck on the boards. Carter gets it to Rubicki. Rubicki to Miller. Miller circles and regroups. Krzyzkowski comes on. Krzyzkowski back to Carter. Carter's puck gets knocked away. They got a guy out of the box. Good job by Aldridge to recognize and get in the middle of that pass. Puck on Cutting, plays it to Aldridge. Aldridge to Campbell, back up, hits Aldridge's skate. Aldridge pushes the puck over to Carter. Carter to Campbell. Campbell to Pulauskas. Pulauskas to Krzyzkowski. Bounces off of the stick onto the goaltender, and they get it outside into the neutral zone. Madison carrying forward on the left side, comes behind the net, dumps it. Campbell was tied up with the player. There's two guys there for Madison. They pin it. Krzyzkowski comes over to help. Seidel and Aldridge and Bergeron working outside, trying to get to cover any passing lanes. Puck goes into the neutral zone. Madison dumps it right back in. Still offsides. Madison has to tag up. Campbell to Krzyzkowski. Misses Krzyzkowski, bounces off of the board. Bergeron knocks it. Seidel puts it back for Onak. Played up to Bergeron. Bergeron chips it into the neutral zone. Madison puts it back down. Bergeron gives the puck to Onak. Onak goes behind Cutting. Onak runs out the clock, and that'll be the end of the first. We take a 1-0 lead with the goal from Paulo on the power play. All right, we're going to start the second period with Reynolds, Paulo, Chalicki, Onak, and Rubicki. Puck gets out from underneath Paulo. Capitals try to go off the glass, hits a Madison player. Reynolds takes it away. Looking for a pass to Paulo. Paulo was ahead of him, and Madison goes opposite direction. Good job by Rybicki, separate man from puck. Offsides, Madison, they got a tag. Puck comes around. Madison dumps it back in. Paulo comes in to help. Madison increasing their physicality. Onak gets tied up, loses his stick. Picks it over to Reynolds. Goes and gets the stick from behind Cutting. Puck goes back behind. Cutting plays it up for Chalicki. Chalicki for Paulo. That's knocked away. Madison circling. Brings it in. Shot low on Cutting. Cutting puts it to the corner. Rybicki up to Chalicki. Chalicki cross for Reynolds. Reynolds brings it in. Tries to center for Paulo. Hits a skate. Puck up the far board. Paulo is there. Pins it down. Miller comes over to help. Brown comes out on a change covers for Miller. Madison digs it out. Brown comes in on the forecheck over to the near board. Gets a stick on it. Pulauskas comes over. Puck gets in some feet. Brown lifts a stick. Aldridge gets the puck up to Pulauskas. Pulauskas gets stood up by a couple of guys. Puck over to Brown. Brown pins it. Gets it into the zone. Madison comes back the other way. Puts a puck through Miller's skate. And then comes in wide. Madison goes for a change. Puck goes onto the far board. Good job by Nietzsche to knock that puck shot on Cutting. Goes into the neutral zone. Madison brings in. Good job by Aldridge to lift a stick. Cutting gets a save. And we'll get an in-zone face-off. Get another change. Paulo, Chalicki, and Reynolds come back on. Campbell and Rybicki. Face-off by Reynolds. In feet. Paulo gets to it, brings it in the neutral zone, gets knocked away. And puck goes behind. Cutting plays it to the far board. Reynolds, big hit in the corner. Puck gets knocked away. Madison still in control. Paulo in the corner. Madison pins it. The puck deflected in front, goes into the opposite corner. Campbell is there. Puck behind for Rybicki. Rybicki's held. Puck back down to Campbell. Campbell comes out from behind over to Rybicki. Rybicki cross ice for Paulo, gets tipped. Back behind the net. Chalicki is there. Paulo pins the puck. Chalicki. Puck goes back in. Chalicki changes. Kruger comes on. Cadidio is on with Carter. Campbell over to Rybicki. Rybicki dumps it in. Kruger comes in hard. Puck bounces off of the boards. Luckily, Madison, or unluckily for us, the Madison player was there to get to it before Kruger or Carter could. Puck brought into the zone. Onak, nice escape up the board. Over to Kruger. Kruger carries in, leaves it for Carter. Carter shot. Saved by Madison. Same personnel. Miller and Onak at D. 13-14 to go in the second. Puck goes in the corner. Carter with a big hit. Madison gets us in neutral zone. Cadidio puts it back on. Puck into the corner. Carter is there. Big hit by Carter. Puck over to Cadidio. Cadidio centering for Kruger. Goes across. Onak puts it back in. Onak gets a stick on. Puck into the neutral zone. Knocked away from Miller. Miller pretty fast, gets to the puck first. Madison knocks Carter. Puck goes in the neutral zone. Kruger gets a hit. Puck still in the neutral zone. Cutting, plays that puck. It comes off of him, but Miller's there. Up to Credidio. Credidio to Kruger. Kruger puts the puck in, but it gets knocked away. Madison the other direction. Puck in front. Good tie up by Onak. Puck knocked to the corner. Onak clears. Hits Madison's defenseman, and he dumps it back in. Cutting, plays it for Onak. Onak to Credidio. Credidio up for Kushkowski. Into the corner. Makes its way to Madison. That was definitely offsides, and they do call that one. 11:55 to go. We'll get an ice cut somewhere around 8:30. Seidel, Kushkowski, and Bergeron come out. This line's been doing well all weekend. Aldridge and Campbell at D. Kushkowski pushes it back. Madison dumps it in. Cutting, plays it to Campbell. Campbell up for Burge. Burge into the middle of the ice for Seidel. Madison gets to it first. Good job by Burge slowing down. Puck comes loose. Madison dumps it in. Aldridge to Kushkowski. Up for Seidel. Seidel cross for Burge, misses, and that'll be an icing. Brown, Nietzsche, Pulauskas come back out. Face off underneath, knocked out by Campbell. Campbell carries it forward, takes a body, but gets the puck into the zone. Brown's coming hard on the forecheck. Makes 42 rethink where he was going with it. Puck into the neutral zone and some skates. Pulauskas is there, offsides. Madison. 11:02 to go in the second. Madison controls the faceoff, goes cross ice. Offsides again. Face-off knocked back. Madison gets to it first, but puts it over to Campbell. Campbell, with speed, gets it in the zone and dumps it behind the net. Puck kept in. No, I guess they call it off. And so Fury has to tag up. Puck knocked over to Campbell. Campbell escaping. Up for Brown. Brown couldn't catch that pass. Does get a body on his man, though. Puck into the back. Knocked away. Nietzsche up to Pulauskas. Pulauskas cross again for Brown. Brown couldn't quite get to it. Nietzsche is there. Puck knocked into middle of the ice. And back for Madison. Pulauskas puts it in deep. Brown and Nietzsche change. Paulo and Reynolds come out. Reynolds coming across. Good stick. Puck into the neutral zone. Pulauskas giving a chase. Offsides again. No call. Interesting. Said offsides, but didn't put his hand up. Puck knocked into the corner. Paulo ties up his man. Comes off of the board. Good stick. Gets knocked away. Shot in front. Cutting. Save. Puck still in front. Knocked away by Paulo. Paulo to Reynolds. Reynolds carries forward. Shot blocked. goes into the netting. Onak and Rabicchiati with Paulo, Reynolds, and Chalicki. 9:15 to go. Still 1-0 Fury. Should get a ice cut soon. Chalicki chasing over. Gets that puck. It's tied up on the boards. Capitals carry through the neutral zone. Good job by Onak to knock that puck a couple of times. Capitals still in control. Get it into the middle of the ice. Pass right to where Onak was standing. He knocks it into the neutral zone. Onak tips it forward for Paulo. Knocked away from Paulo. Capitals off of the board and carry it in. Shot in front. Puck comes into the middle of the ice, just above the circles, and a quick shot. And it's 1-1. We should be going to the ice cut right now. Officials had to hold up a little bit since everybody uses the same door. So 8:29 to go in the second. It is 1-1. Coming out after the ice cut, Madison got a goal just before, so we'll have a center ice face off. They come out with Paulo, Reynolds, Chalicki, Onak, and Miller. Puck knocked back by Reynolds to Onak. Onak cross ice for Reynolds. Reynolds dumps in the opposite corner. Paulo is there. Puck gets knocked over to Chalicki. Chalicki hard around for Reynolds. Reynolds in the corner. Gets that up to Miller. Miller walks the blue line. Gets a shot. Blocked in front. Over to the far board for Chalicki. Chalicki to Onak. Back to Miller. Miller shot. Blocker to side by the goaltender into the corner. Hard out. And that'll be an icing. Capitals will get a change. Carter coming out with Nietzsche and Pulauskas. Puck one over to Pulauskas, to Onak, back to Miller. Miller cross ice for Pulauskas. Centering blocked by Madison. Madison carries forward. They've got one. Tries to get past Onak. Miller pushes him to the board. Centering pass. Good tie up by Carter. Gets the puck and pushes it to Pulauskas. Pulauskas cross for Carter. Carter in front. All right, so offsides is called. The kid on the blue line missed it. The lead official called it. Carter, Nietzsche, Pulauskas, Campbell, and Aldridge. Both centers are kicked. Pulauskas comes in to take the face off. Pulauskas wins it back to Campbell. Campbell to Aldridge. Aldridge puts it in deep. Pulauskas goes in. Knocks the puck loose. Nietzsche picks it up. Back down low. Pulauskas to the corner. Puck bounces off the boards awkwardly over to Carter. Carter takes a hit to the face. Carter knocks the guy off. Puck underneath. Carter's just the medicine I think we need for this team, as he's always going to hit hard. Carter gets knocked down. Pulauskas digs that puck out, gets it to Aldridge. Gets past Aldridge into Fury zone. Aldridge to Campbell. Campbell to Nietzsche. Nietzsche looked to make a pass, but there was a Madison player there. Madison brings puck in, gets deflected, and goes into the netting. Brown, Kruger, Credidio come out. 6:41 to go in the period. Face-off one back by Madison. Shot blocked by Credidio. Credidio hard on the forecheck. Madison dumps it into the corner. Credidio gets a big hit. It's going to go for a roughing. 42 embellished a little bit, but puck controlled by Madison over to down low in front, blocked by Rubicki, covered by Cutting. 6:13 to go in the period, minute 47 in the power play. Face off one by Madison. Go over to the far board. Walks it down. Puck down into the corner, back to the board. Up to the D, back over to the far board. Shot blocked in front by Onak and cleared by Reynolds. Reynolds, Paulo, Onak, and Rubicki out for this kill. Madison carrying up through center ice. Takes it wide. Pushed by Onak. Centering pass blocked by Onak's stick. Puck back up to the far board. Paulo has the puck. Madison puts it into the corner. Rubicki is there. Puts it to the opposite corner for Reynolds. Reynolds trying to work it off of the board. Puck comes to the middle of the ice. Knocked back to the near board by Madison. Madison up to the point. Back down low. Onak knocks the puck away and comes in the neutral zone. 45 seconds to go. We're going to get a change. Kushkowski comes on. Miller, Nietzsche, and Aldridge. Kushkowski forcing them to regroup behind the net. 28 seconds to go on the kill. Madison up the near board. Carries in. But down low, Aldridge is there. Aldridge goes high off of the glass and clears. 12 seconds. Madison going to try to get one last rush. puck into the neutral zone. Carried forward, shot on cutting. Penalties expired. Pulauskas comes out. Nietzsche up for Kushkowski. Back to Nietzsche. Knocked aside. Pulauskas collects a loose puck, brings it forward. Back up to Rybicki. Kushkowski, backdoor for Pulauskas one time, save. Cleared by Madison. Hits the linesman and into the neutral zone. Madison carries the puck in off of the far board, dumps it down low. Campbell is there. Puts it over to Kushkowski. Kushkowski across for Nietzsche. Nietzsche. Down low for Pulauskas. Brown comes on. Puck down low, slowed down by cutting. Rybicki back into the corner. Makes its way to Brown on the floor. Puck over to Rybicki. Rybicki dumps it. Gets tripped. Puck over to Brown. Brown puts it down for Kruger. Carter comes on. Carter big hit. Puck into the neutral zone. Carter collects. Carter carries forward. Circles back to Campbell. Bounces past Campbell. Loose puck, shot wide, high off of the glass. Into the neutral zone. Carter goes to get it. Madison regroups, hits off Carter's stick. Carter again, another nice stick. Kruger and Carter get tied up. Madison takes the loose puck, put it into the puck goes in the middle. Brown knocks it away. Shot into Cutting's chest and no rebound. Really messy hockey. Madison likes to play a tied up game. I don't know if somebody's hurt. We got a mismatch of three lines here. But Chalicki, Paulo, and Reynolds come out. Puck off of Cutting and over into the corner. I think it might have hit the crossbar too. Not sure. Reynolds puts that puck into the ice. Chalicki going to get Reynolds gets tied up. Puck on the boards. Paulo puts it in deep. Puck behind the net. Chalicki coming. Pass misses everybody. Goes for an icing. Minute 31 to go in the second period. Still 1-1. Madison controls the puck off the face-off. Puck comes to Onak. Onak puts it in. Paulo goes for a hit. Icing is called. Good job by Paulo to force pressure. Madison had to throw it down. Reynolds to take this draw. Chalicki offset. Face off in feet. Paulo goes in to grab it, gets tied up. Puck to the corner. Reynolds gets that up to Miller. Miller keeps it in. Cross ice for Onak. Onak walks it down. Shot low. Goes wide. Miller keeps it in, puts it down low, goes across for Chalicki. Chalicki to Onak. Onak knocks it down for Chalicki. Madison gets a hold of the loose puck, but Paulo gets a hit on Chalicki. Takes the puck, carries forward. Nietzsche comes out. Miller over to Onak. Onak to Nietzsche. Nietzsche for Reynolds. Reynolds gets it in. Reynolds changes. Carter and Pulauskas come on as Chilicki changes. Puck off of the boards, Nietzsche carrying. Nietzsche into the corner. Lost the handle a little bit. Pulauskas digs it out, cross for Campbell, misses, goes all the way down, cutting, slows it down. Leaves it, plays it up the boards, bounces over to Aldridge. Aldridge gets to the neutral zone, and that's the end of the period. Face off, push behind Paulo. Paulo gets it to the boards, pushes it forward. Puck goes high into the corner. Campbell is there. Campbell escapes one. Up the boards, off of Chilicki into the neutral ice. Madison gets it up to the far board. Campbell cuts in front, takes the puck away. Hard around for Chilicki. Chilicki to Reynolds. Reynolds and Paulo streaking. Reynolds' shot is blocked into the corner. Paulo is there. Reynolds cross ice, taken by Madison. Chilicki comes around. Puck off of the boards over to Campbell. Campbell looking for Paulo, misses, and played by Madison. Reynolds knocks him off the puck. Kushkowski and Bergeron come on with Seidel. 5:58 to go. Puck to Onak. Onak pushed by Kushkowski over to Bergeron. This coach is yelling at the linesman. Kushkowski takes the draw. Slow drop. Madison gets to it, puts it off the glass. Onak gloves it down. Cut it in, and the puck comes around, misses, and that'll be icing. Carter, Pulauskas, and Nietzsche come on. Nietzsche wins that to Pulauskas. Pulauskas to Aldridge, over to Miller. Backdoor for Pulauskas. Couldn't get the one-timer. Puck to the middle. Madison collects, sends it across ice. Miller chips it into the neutral ice. Offsides. Madison has to tag up. Puck behind for Aldridge. Aldridge to Miller. Miller Looking for Pulauskas, doesn't quite get there, going for icing. Could have been played. 15:02 to go in the game. Have a very young linesman. It's got him picked on a little bit. Same personnel. Puck pushed back over to Aldridge. Aldridge to Carter. Carter cross for Pulauskas. Pulauskas was a little further than Carter expected. Puck over to the far board. Pulauskas takes a butt end. Puck misses. Madison coach is just as bad as their players. $14:44 to go in the game. Puck to the corner. Miller puts it back in. Madison's still in control, but knocked aside by Pulauskas. Carter tries to dump it in. Madison back through the neutral zone. Puck in. Centering pass goes too far ahead. Madison knocks it away from Nietzsche. Puck knocked aside by Aldridge. Into the corner, Aldridge working. Ties him up. Puck to Carter. Carter gets tied up. Nietzsche ties up his man. Puck still loose. Miller helps. Puck along the boards. Nietzsche's going to go for a trip. That was a trip, but Marty took a cross check. Paulo Reynolds come out to take the kill with Rubicki and Campbell. Puck one back to Rubicki over to Campbell. Campbell tries to get it to Reynolds, kept in by Madison. Madison's shot goes wide over to the near board. Good job by Campbell to anticipate the pass and knock the puck out. Madison has to regroup all the way behind their goaltender for their breakout. 13:38 to go in the game, minute 35 in the kill. Puck on Cutting. Cutting pushes it back to the backboard. Rubicki, good poke over to Reynolds. Reynolds carries forward, dumps it down. Reynolds goes for a change. Kuszkowski comes on. Paulo changes, and so does Chilicki. So Chilicki and Kuszkowski come out. Good stick by Kuszkowski. Kuszkowski, always a good PK player, causing Madison to regroup again. 54 seconds to go on the kill. Madison wasted a good 10 seconds of their kill time for there. Again, Kuszkowski, good stick, puts it on net. And they have to cover. 38 seconds to go on the kill. Reynolds and Paulo come back out. Good shift by Kuszkowski and Chilicki. Onak and Miller at D. Face-off one back to Onak. Onak gets a shot. Paulo tips it. Puck hits the glass. Madison Gets the puck up the near board. Go cross ice to enter the zone. Drop pass. Paulo in the way. Madison dumps it low. Onak is there. They come back up the boards. Back up to the D. That's interference. Again, Paulo gets interfered with. But puck goes to Reynolds, and Reynolds dumps it. 7 seconds to go. Nietzsche about to come out. Penalties expired. Comes across the ice. Madison looking to play it. Gets a stick on and then dumps it. Miller over to Nietzsche. Nietzsche takes a huge slash. The official having a long conversation with the coach because he is losing his mind. Credidio, Kruger, and Brown with Campbell and Aldridge. Face off, push to the corner and around, up the far board. Knocked in on Cutting, plays it up the glass. Brown lifts the stick. Credidio gets the puck to the neutral zone. Brought in, shot high, bounces off of the board. Aldridge to Brown. Ahead for Credidio, bounces off of Credidio's stick. Madison comes back the other way. Brown gets in front of that play. Credidio in front of that. And offsides Madison. $11-11 remaining in the game. Still 1-1. Aldridge to Campbell, back to Aldridge. Up for Seidel. Kushkowski, Bergeron are out there. Puck behind the net. Kush is tied up. Bergeron is just being cross-checked down. Puck to the corner. Seidel is there. He pins his man. Puck comes loose to Burge. Burge looking for Kush. It was a little too far. Up to Campbell. Campbell shot off pad. Kushkowski battling. Puck comes loose and flung into Fury, zone by Campbell. Wholesale change for Madison's offense. Campbell carries in, puts it into the corner. Kushkowski and Seidel working. Puck comes out to Rubicki. Rubicki gets a shot. Goaltender didn't quite see it, but it goes wide. Puck in the neutral zone. Rubicki and Campbell working to get the puck back to the neutral zone. Seidel takes a body. Kushkowski gets to that puck. Rubicki carries forward, puts the puck into the corner. Onak comes on. Paulo comes on. Seidel working. Puck goes cross ice for Rubicki. Rubicki to Onak. Onak to Paulo. Onak gets dumped and then a cross check. No call. Rubicki, good hit to Reynolds. Reynolds tries to clear, kept in on Cutting. Rebound. Good block by Rubicki. Centering pass. Chalicki gets in the way of the D and knocks it into the neutral zone. Rubicki hard off the glass. Chalicki is there. That should be icing, but it's played. Miller and Aldridge come out on D. Puck on Cutting. Cutting plays the puck over, and the official blows it dead. Reynolds takes this face off. Pushed back by Madison, D to D. Shot goes wide, bounces in front, still bouncing, knocked away by Paulo. Paulo. Puck protection, gets through two guys, gets through a third guy, still has it. Puck to Reynolds. Reynolds hits the post, goes back into the corner. Puck up to the near board. Madison. Carry forward, goes across ice. Bounces off a stick. Aldridge is there. Aldridge gets the puck back to Miller. Miller up the near board. Puck to the middle of the ice. Madison dumps it to the corner. Paulo to the near board. Shot goes wide and across into neutral zone. Chilicki chasing. Carter and Nietzsche come on. Carter got away with one there. That could have been a tripping penalty. Carter streaking. Puck in front. Still loose. One, two, three, four, 5. 8 minutes to go in the game. Palauskas joins Nietzsche and Carter. We're going to go on the power play here. So, unsportsmanlike, 2-minute penalty for Madison. I think the Madison coach understands how high pitched and loud his voice is. Can hear what he's saying. Puck over to the boards. Comes on cutting, plays it to Onak. Onak, Campbell, Chilicki, Paulo, and Reynolds out for this power play. Onak drops it for Reynolds. Reynolds tries to carry through, gets knocked away over to Paulo. Paulo for Onak. Onak cross for Paulo. Paulo into the zone. Leaves it for Reynolds. Reynolds has space in the middle. Shot on, bounces off of the pad. Paulo comes in, puck to the backboard. Paulo takes an elbow to the head. Puck comes loose over to Campbell. Campbell for Reynolds. Reynolds is tripped. That's a trip. We're not going to get any help here from the officiating crew. Onak puts him into the boards. Campbell carrying forward. Puck to Chilicki. Chilicki knocks it. Carter comes on. Chilicki's going to get an interference hold. This is a even up call here by this official because that was an interference. He was being held. So we're going to go 4-on-4 for 50 seconds. 6:50 to go in the game. Puck behind the net for Miller. Miller to Rubicki. Cross ice for Nietzsche. Nietzsche gets past. Nietzsche and Palauskas in. Nietzsche shot into the goaltender and gloved. 33 seconds to go, and then we'll be on the kill. Face off. One by Nietzsche. Palauskas gets it, but tied up and go back the other way. Cutting, slows the puck down. Rubicki behind the net. Comes back out. He's got space. Up to Pulauskas. Pulauskas circles. Puts it in deep. Nietzsche going into the corner. Puck behind the net. Pulauskas coming. 4 seconds. Guy comes out. We're on the kill. Reynolds is out. Pulauskas coming around. Miller to Reynolds. Reynolds clears. Rubicki changes. Pulauskas. Puck knocked in. Aldridge is out. Aldridge ties up. Puck across. Paulo's come out. Puck up to the D, kept in. Reynolds gets in the way. Good stick by Miller. It goes into the neutral zone. Cross ice. Puck in front. Miller, who was going to go for a change, decided not to. Clears that puck. Campbell comes on. 14 seconds to go. Kushkowski's out. Shot high and wide off of the glass. Comes out into the neutral zone. 6 seconds. Lost an edge. Kushkowski gets it. Cross for Nietzsche. Shalicki comes out of the box. Campbell dumps the puck in. Kushkowski hard in. He's going to be the first one there. Centers. Misses. Go over to Aldridge. Aldridge shot. It's low. Still loose. Nietzsche just gets tackled. That's a penalty. Oh my gosh. Ref right over it. Doesn't call it. Puck the other way. Shot blocked by Campbell. Back up to the D. Nietzsche comes out. Nietzsche takes a cross check. No call. Puck in front. Shot again. Cutting. Save. .405 to go. Credidio, Brown, Kruger come out. Onak and Rubicki. Face off one back. Everybody gets tied up. Brown gets knocked down and blocks it. Kruger knocks that puck over to Credidio. Credidio tries to walk past the guy. Puck is loose. Kruger knocks it down deep. Credidio comes in. Puck over to the far board. Kruger and Brown circling. Madison behind the net. Try to get it up. They miss everybody. Does not touch anything, but they wave the icing. Puck to Credidio. Credidio tries to get that over to Kruger. It gets blocked. Puck up to the D. Brown blocks it. Puck still in. Puck off of Cutting. Into the corner. Kruger gets it. Kruger across for Credidio. Credidio chips. It's close enough. Get a change. Shalicki, Reynolds, Paulo come out. Miller and Aldridge at D. 3 minutes to go. Aldridge ties up. Miller comes over to help. Chips it forward for Shalicki. Shalicki going for Reynolds. Goes behind him. Reynolds collects. Aldridge. Behind Cutting. Goes up for Reynolds. Reynolds taps it. Shalicki gets the loose puck. 2:31 to go. Reynolds comes off over to Paulo. Paulo shot off of the goaltender's mask. Madison up the near board. Falls. Paulo knocks it away, but it's knocked away from him. Into the neutral zone for Miller. Miller puts it in hard. Shalicki going in. Puck comes up. Campbell tries to keep that puck in. Steal by Pulauskas. Pulauskas shot low. Blocked into the corner. Campbell puts it in front. Goes in the opposite corner. Madison brings it forward. Trying to get past Rubicki. Rubicki pushes him to the corner. Centering pass just through the legs of Madison. Campbell trying to pin this man. Nietzsche does. Still with it. Over to the far board. Palauskas battling. Shot on. Blocked by Campbell. Madison still has the puck somehow. Over to Rybicki. Rybicki to Chalicki. Chalicki. Cross for Palauskas. Kept in. Puck goes behind. Chalicki gets it off of the near board. Tries to flip it out. Kept in. Puck bounces off of Cutting's pad over to Campbell. Campbell over to Palauskas. Palauskas puts it in, pushes it in the neutral zone. Kushkowski comes out. Reynolds comes out. Puck to the middle of the ice. Kushkowski's got it. Kushkowski past one. Shot. Low. Save. Kruger, Bergeron, and Seidel come out. 49.2 seconds to go. Official wouldn't let us take a timeout. Cutting pushes the puck into the neutral zone. Puck back up the boards. Madison carries it down low again. Good stick by Onak, knocks it into the corner. Onak trying to get it over to Miller. Centering pass, good tie up by Burge. Paulo comes on. Five seconds to go. Shot. Big save. That's the end. I don't know what happened with the goaltender. Somebody's saying he took a slash to the head. Not sure. Well, it looks like we're going to go to... I don't know what we're doing. Looks like we're going to do OT. Got a 5-minute. Oh, we're switching ends. Three on three. We're going to start out with Campbell, Paulo, and Reynolds. Paulo kicks it to Reynolds. Reynolds carries in one-on-one. Shot blocked into the netting. Paulo wins that back to Campbell. That did look like it came out. Face off, one back to Campbell. Smart play by Campbell. Came in with speed. Puck gets knocked in. Madison moving forward. Puck to the middle. Pushed by Campbell. Paulo takes it away. Paulo carrying forward. Trying to get a mismatch here. Puck bounces. Goaltender has to cover. 4:19 to go. Nietzsche going to make a change, but we changed after the home team. So Paulo come to take the draw again. One back to Reynolds. Reynolds shot low. Pushed over to the far board. Paulo gets there. Paulo gets held. Madison the other way. Shot into cutting. Kushkowski, Nietzsche, and Onak. Knocked out of the skates by Onak. Onak behind cutting. Up for Nietzsche. Nietzsche's got a step. He gets there. Centering pass. Goal, Kushkowski. Blazing fast speed by Nietzsche. Kushkowski hustling hard to the middle of the ice. And that's an OT win for the Fury. Great weekend for Kushkowski. 4 goals in 3 games. All right, and we don't have anything next weekend. And then we've got a showcase. And then we're at Thanksgiving week. So I'll post the next games when I have the times. And we'll see you all next time. Thanks.